I'm
So are
guessing
you
30
saying-
years, probably, what's that, 1,200 games plus playoffs. Let's say I probably 1,500 slices. I probably did probably more than won a game. So
Well, you're often at these swanky dinners, and I see you having a nice meal. Even after that, you're having like a pizza?
even after that, I'm having, if there's a
Really?
slice of pizza in the suite, I'm having a slice of pizza.
We are back, and I guess we have to say a Happy New Year. It's the first absolute nonsense of 2026.
Wow, I didn't think about that.
You didn't think
No,
about that.
You're right.
Because we dropped the Paul McLean episode on New Year's
We
Eve.
did. Yep. We did. It was right before. It's a good point. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Look at you
Yeah.
off the top of your head.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
What's your podcast resolution again?
My podcast resolution?
Yeah.
Do a little bit more research, which I didn't do ahead
You
of
didn't
this
do.
episode.
And we're already into episode 1 of 2026, but that's
Yeah.
okay. We got some emails, though, to get
Nice.
to. Before we get to our guest on this week's episode, which is Cyril Leeder.
Yep.
We're gonna go down memory lane. And, I know we like to strike a, nonsensical,
Yep.
kind of have some fun.
For sure.
This one is like,
Just
It's
a walk down memory
it's a
lane.
walk
like
down
you said.
memory lane.
Yeah. Yeah.
didn't get as fun and frivolous as some of the other, but this is also our boss we're speaking to.
Exactly. And he's
You
all
gotta be
business.
real careful.
Right? He's all business.
He's all business.
He's keeping it
He's going to
professional.
come by here dressed in a suit, and we're going to be dressed like this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It speaks volumes about us and about him.
It sure does. So you can hit us up at any time. The email is communications@ottawasenators.com, and that is what Wayne Giroux has done.
Really?
Wayne Giroux, I'm going to say no relation, but I don't know that.
Hey, wow.
I don't know that for
Wayne
sure.
Giroux. Hey, so he's got two pretty good hockey names in there.
Yeah,
Gretzky
Wayne
and
Primo
Giroux.
and
Wayne Primo.
oh, Wayne Gretzky, of
Wayne
course.
Yeah, exactly. Wayne Primo.
Wayne Giroux writes into the show, guys, love the podcast. Thanks for your hard work and creativity. My wife and I were listening to the episode with Paul McLean when you were responding to messages from listeners. As soon as you talked about the listener who suggested the idea of interviewing a ghost, I thought it would make for a great segment, but not with a real ghost. You could have a segment called Ghosts of Ottawa Hockey, and you could tell some of the stories or legends of things from the past. I know I would love to hear some of the more crazy moments in hockey history in the nation's capital. Thank you very much. That's from Wayne.
We got to start putting these ideas to fruition. I mean, I agree. Like I said last episode.
But we're interviewing like he's saying, it's a Ghost of Ottawa Hockey segment, and you tell stories of legends. Like, are we telling the story with like flashlights under our chin, like ghost stories?
Change the lighting here.
Change the lighting?
No, I don't know. I think like there's a way to
are
do
you
it.
speaking like a Jeff Friesen, like that creepy kind of story, or like are you just telling it straight?
I don't know. I feel like there's a way to do it that's creative, fun, but also factual and informative. Like teaching in the classroom. You got to be creative, fun, but informative.
What would you know about teaching in a classroom?
I don't know. Nothing really.
Right.
But
and yet you went right to that analogy.
I feel like you do need to be creative, fun, and informative. The 3 keys to teaching.
3 keys to teaching. Let's move to our next message from Jamie Murray. Again, could be related to the Murray family.
Yep, indeed.
It could be. First of all, you guys talked about Paul McLean and the painting of the Queen.
Yep.
Just so you know, the painting of the Queen spent years in storage in Ontario. Before it was purchased by some CN executives, they returned it to Winnipeg to be put on display in a few different spots.
Interesting.
Are we just accepting this as fact, by the way? Like, people just write in. They can say anything. We're not even fact checking.
They could. This could be
wow,
this
this portrait of the Queen was
the true meaning
Just
of getting your information unfactually off the internet for you right here. But hey, that's interesting if it's true, for sure.
okay. But Jamie wanted to talk to us about goal songs at Canadian Tire Center, because we've talked about this. Would you go individual goal songs?
Yep.
We keep going with woohoo.
Yep.
Jamie says, while playing specific songs for individual players presents an opportunity to be more creative, I think it takes away from the purpose of a goal song. The best goal songs are the ones that get the crowd engaged and allow for some sort of chant to happen. Otherwise, it's just basically another song playing in the background, and it's difficult to inject energy into the crowd if it's a different song and vibe every time. For example, if you played Enter Sandman when Jake Sanderson scores, there isn't an opportunity to chant anything. Yes, it's an awesome song, but it's more of an entrance or a pump-up song than a goal song. Personally, I love what the Rangers do to get their crowd going with a goal song. Chicago's is good too. That's from Jamie.
I agree. That's a good take. I think that the Sens we have a great goal song. Woohoo is fantastic, and that's an example. It gets the crowd going, especially in the playoffs. It's loud. It's the
So you're
crowd's
out
into
on
it.
Enter Sandman.
I don't think I'm out on Enter Sandman. I think both ideas can be good. I'm basically the moderator for this debate, I guess, and I think that both.
How did you emerge into the role of moderator?
I don't know, but I'm trying to keep a level-headed stance in the sense that I like Woohoo, and I think that Enter Sandman would be really cool when Jake scored.
Okay, Jackson Starr. He's an unqualified teacher and moderator. I got to say though, if Jake Sanderson was ever coming in for a penalty shot,
Yep. Oh,
I wouldn't mind Enter Sandman.
That'd be fantastic.
Like
I
maybe
agree.
okay. What if we settle on just before guys take a shot in the shootout, they have their own.
They have their song that plays.
It's like when a relief pitcher, like back in the day, Mariano Rivera, when he was a closer for the Yankees, and Enter Sandman came on, you knew 99.9% of the time it was game over.
100%. Yeah, they were going to win the game for sure.
No, not 100%. 99.9%. I just said that.
I know, but I agreed on your 99%. Anyway, clarifications with you, eh? But yeah, I think that's a really cool idea. I think that I think either way, like that'd be really cool if Sandy hopped over the boards and Enter Sandman played Mr. Bright. But I feel like it's more of a celebration. Like we think Mr. Brightside with Brady.
With Brady.
And that comes after he's the first star or something like that. I feel like playing it preemptively before he's about to go on the shootout would be a bit of a change of pace.
Well, it's a natural segue for you to talk about a potential Brady goal song because that's what Ryan is doing in this email. Ryan says, I'm all in for building individual goal songs, but the players, they should be the ones picking them. Similar to walk-up music in baseball, it builds a connection with the players. Kids will be pumped when the music for their guy comes on. And I've got some suggestions for you guys. So as I mentioned, Ryan's got one for Brady. He says it's got to be a wrestler theme. So think of Stone Cold, Steve Austin's entrance song. He says, look, Hulk Hogan was a joke, but the track Real American slaps. I don't know about that. But those are a couple of potentials.
John Cena as well could be in there.
I threw out in a column that Stephen Halliday, it should be Madonna's Holiday. Can you imagine? Holiday, celebrate. It'd be pretty good.
I love it.
It'd be pretty good.
I think we've spoken on the podcast before about I like those disco songs in fun moments.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be a great one.
I
you
think
could also
so.
play Holiday by Green Day.
Well, that. So he says,
has been
absolutely
used.
go Holiday by Green Day.
Yeah, I think the Canucks have used that in the past.
He goes, for Michael Amadio, you play the Super Mario Brothers theme song.
Oh, boy.
But we're like, dun, 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 dun.
It's not that. Maybe you can do a remix of that to get it more pumped up.
Shane Pinto, you get one guess on what song he says you should play for Shane Pinto.
I have no clue. I can't even.
Sugar, Sugar. Now, is that because Shane likes candy?
Oh, my gosh. I don't know.
Is that why?
I don't know. You'd think like Pinto Bean. There could be. Is there like a bean song that's hovering around? But like, where does Sugar come from? I have no clue. I don't know.
I'm assuming he has a. And do you know that the song Sugar, Sugar is it's like it's from the Archie comics, like the Archie.
Really?
Yes, I didn't know this until a few weeks ago. I just
interesting.
happened to be looking at something. It's like Sugar, Sugar by the Archies, and it's from a cartoon.
Wow.
It's from the Archie.
Interesting. That's not really a song that gets the crowd going though. After a goal.
And he also says, Ryan says, you go with for Dylan Cousins, you go with the Jay-Z version of A Hard Knock Life, and for Nick Cousins, you go with the Annie version of A Hard Knock Life.
Oh my God, I love that. I kind of think that's hilarious.
Yeah,
that's funny.
That's pretty good.
It
All
is.
right.
Nice.
Again, keep them coming. Communications@ottawasenators.com. We'd love to hear from you. But right now, without any further delay, we're really excited for this conversation with President and CEO Cyril Leeder.
The Absolute Non-Sens podcast is furnished by Dalla Decor, the official luxury furniture partner of the Ottawa Senators. Ian and I sit on these super comfortable chairs every episode, and we thank our lucky stars, wink wink, that we have such a great partner in Dalla Decor.
We're pretty excited for this one.
For sure.
For this guest.
Yeah.
Because we get to go down memory lane.
Absolutely.
And also, he's the boss of all of us, so we kind of have to be excited.
We do.
That he's here, right?
Indeed we do. But we are actually excited.
Got a feign excitement. Is that the
Yeah, we're excited to have Cyril Leeder drop by the podcast studio for the very first time that you've actually been in this
first time in the
space.
studio? Yes.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot of different memorabilia around.
Lots of good stuff
Yeah.
here.
So all the memories come flooding back to you.
They do. Yeah, pouring back in here. So.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of why we want to bring you on here this week, Cy, is to chat about the 30th anniversary of the building, because here in the middle of January, we're going to be celebrating 30 years of the Palladium / Corel Center / Scotiabank Arena / Canadian Tire Center. Does it feel like 30 years?
Some days it does.
Yeah.
But generally, no, it's gone by really quickly. I can't believe that 30 years has passed since we opened the building, and a lot of good memories here. A lot of great things happened in this building over those 30 years.
We'll take a look back at like the process to get the building going. But I mean, when you step in now, does it ever like click to you where we got this done, right? Like there were so many hurdles and different ways that it could have gone a different way, but you guys were able to get this done. Does it ever click to you now when you step back and think that this is where we are and this is how it all occurred?
Yeah, I mean, you get those feelings on a regular basis when you walk around the building, especially when it's full. I mean, I think when the building's full, it has that sort of special atmosphere and magic that takes place. And if I get a little bit nostalgic, it's during those times.
Is it almost like, I guess, you've got kids. Does this feel like, does Canadian Tire Center feel like one of your kids in some ways? Like, and that kid is turning 30?
Yeah, it does, because once we got the franchise in 1990, I'd done a lot of things to that point to help win the franchise, secure the franchise on behalf of our company and the city. And then I really turned my attention to getting the building built, the new building. That was the sort of first task on my to-do list and responsibilities as an executive with the new organization was to get this building built. So it feels like I sweated every detail on it and lived through, as Jackson said, there were some ups and some downs. We chatted earlier about the Carp River being a navigable waterway. Like that was kind of the last hurdle that we had to get over after it seemed like 3 years of trials and tribulations and fighting to get the building built. And so yeah, it was one of those projects where it feels like I have a lot invested in it, and it's an important part of my business career.
You mentioned that right off the hop, it was kind of your assignment, right? Get this building kind of done. When that comes to you, what was your approach? You don't even have a franchise yet. What's your first approach in order to try and secure land and all that, the details that kind of brought this to fruition?
Yeah, I mean, it's just to get grounded on, what, how the buildings operate, what's important. I've been working in real estate development prior to that, and I'm an accountant by training, but I'm a sports junkie at heart and played a lot of hockey. And when I got into the process, someone asked me if I'd ever built a rink before, and they looked at me, and I was still in my early 30s, and they said, well, "You're probably not." And then the next question was, well, what really qualifies somebody to be responsible for building an arena? And then I think it was Bruce Firestone said, "Cyril's got the best background to do this. He knows his numbers. He's got a real estate background, and he knows the game of hockey inside and out. So who else is more qualified to do that?" I don't know if I was super qualified, but certainly I had enough of a background. And really, like anything else, if you got a passion for it and you put in the effort and the time and you care, you'll get a good results. And I think this building has stood the test of time over 30 years now. When it was built in 1996, it certainly was state of the art, but it's still a reasonably good place to watch a hockey game and for players to play in and fans to come and watch games and concerts.
So we're sitting out here in Canada having this conversation. Now, when you guys were plotting this out in the early 90s, were there some other spots in the city that you were looking at to put an arena? And I only bring this up because I remember reading a story that the Colorado Rockies in the early 1980s were thinking about relocating from Denver. Ottawa was a spot, and they were going to consider playing at the Nepean Sportsplex on Woodruff and Hunt Club.
Yeah.
First of all, was there any world in which you were thinking about redoing the Sportsplex?
No.
Okay.
No, that never saw the light of day. There was a lot of options that got considered, and Bruce Firestone had been thinking about the NHL and bringing a team to Ottawa, and he'd been thinking about it for a long time before he shared any of that information with anybody, including myself and Randy Sexton and the rest of the group that worked with him on a daily basis. We knew nothing about sort of Bruce's thoughts or vision for an NHL team, but he'd been thinking about where could the team play. It was kind of one of his first considerations. And there was a piece of land out here in Canada that was under option by the Central Canada Exhibition. So they had a couple hundred acres of land under option. And Bruce, he said, I think at one point in passing, which we really didn't pay much attention to at the time, but too bad that they optioned that site. That would have been a good site for an NHL building if Ottawa ever got a team. And they let the option lapse. And as soon as they let the option lapse, then he shared the idea with Randy and I that let's go after a team. And I know the perfect site that we need to acquire, which was the site that we ended up getting, plus we ended up with 600 acres of land at the time, but it was the 200 that was under option, plus another 400 acres of land. And 100 of the acres are where the building sits today.
Interesting. And you kind of mentioned, I think it's pretty well known that the design of the place came after the Palace at Auburn Hills in Michigan. Were there any other kind of design elements that were taken from other buildings around North America or around the world?
Yes. I mean, kind of what's the first process, or how do you start this process to build an NHL arena? Well, you tour other buildings. And it wasn't just NHL rinks. It was baseball stadiums, because you look at their signage, you look at the seats, you look at their concessions. So baseball, football, hockey. I went to 26 different buildings, and the 26th building or 25th building that we saw was the Palace at Auburn Hills. And when we walked in there, we went, wow, like this. We hadn't seen anything like that. It was theater-style seats. Usually they were plastic or wooden seats. They had the suites down low. They had lots of suites. It was more of a theater than, back in the 80s, a traditional hockey barn. So that made an impression on us. And from that point on, we knew that we wanted to model our building after the Palace at Auburn Hills. And we hired the same architects out of Detroit, Rossetti Associates. But then we went on another tour with the architects, and we went and saw 5 buildings that were either just built, or under construction at the time, and making notes in each building. And of the 26 facilities we toured, there was something from every building in this design. There was at least one point, even the oldest building that you wouldn't want to model after, there was something in there you liked. And almost as important were, there was things in them that you didn't want to make those mistakes. So you said, we don't want that, and make sure we don't do this, or this isn't wide enough as a hallway, we got to be wider. So you were able to tour with your architects and your contractors and really point to certain elements and say, this is not an acceptable standard, or is an acceptable standard for us going forward.
When you look at the arena now, or maybe it was right after it was built, was there one feature that you wished, you know what, if I had a do-over, I would upgrade this, or I would do this differently? And I say this as, I think if we own a home, and if I could change that, I hate that we have a single car driveway.
Yeah.
And I always say to my wife, if only this was a double lane, we would be so much happier. What's that for you? What's the thing that you're like, I wish this arena had this?
Yeah, I mean, when it opened, we thought we hit the nail pretty close on the head. As it is now, 30 years later, and we got to think about this because we're in the process of thinking about moving and designing a new building. I think the lower bowl is too small. There's 5,000 seats in the first 16 rows. There's almost 9,000 seats in the upper 16 rows. How can that be? Well, as you get higher, the circumference gets bigger. So, a complete row of seats at the top, I think, is like 600 or 700 seats. 700 seats at the top, whereas at the bottom it's like 200. So if we were doing it over, we would have made the lower bowl bigger, and maybe inverted that, had 5,000 in the upper bowl and 8,000 or 9,000 in the lower bowl.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring it up because there really isn't a bad seat in the building. I mean, I talk with fans and they love sitting up top. I mean, the ledge is great, but also the 300s. And I know that's part of the design, of course, with the Palace coming in. But it's interesting with the differences in lower bowls and upper bowls. I'd imagine you take influence and inspiration from other rinks as well from that regard and going forward. But overall, we talked a little bit about the Carp River. What is the approach now moving forward to, kind of take the next process and trying to
get to the next level
ring.
on the new
exactly.
arena? So 2 questions there. On the design of the original building, we had a couple things going for us. One was we're in a field. So traditionally, when you see buildings, and not to pick on them, but the Bell Centre in Montreal or downtown Toronto, the building, Scotiabank Arena, like they have constraints. And so what you end up doing is you put all your most valuable seats get programmed first, and then your suites, and then whatever left over has to fit into the area. So you end up with either tighter or you got some obstructions. So when you start with a field like we did, there's no constraints. So we had no constraints to start with. And then secondly, we really knew what we wanted, and we were prepared to live with a little steeper pitch in the upper bowl, but we wanted a tread. Our tread is wider than you'd say in Montreal, so you got more seat room. Our seats are wider than most buildings as well. So I think the default is 19 inches, and they get up as high as 21 inches in the upper bowl. So we kind of had that those parameters to deal with, and we were able to fit it all in the site. Today, what are we doing now? Where are we on that process? Is it's kind of again deja vu for me. It's back to starting with the site, and what can you fit on that site. And we're not yet at the point where we're going to go tour the latest and greatest buildings with architects and contractors. I think we're about a year away from that. I think we still have another year of heavy lifting on the project to kind of solve some of the sort of thornier issues, if you will. There's decontamination, there's Indigenous rights, financing. There's kind of fitting everything in. Again, the site, even though it's open, undeveloped land, it is a constrained site. You've got the LRT line to the north, you got Albert Street to the south, you got LRT stations east and west. So none of those are moving. So you've got to kind of work within that context and that constraint. And when we get those issues solved, then we'll move to, okay, we got the big issue solved. Let's work on design and designing the best possible arena we can on that site.
If I can bring it back quickly, one more thing to I saw a documentary a little while ago about the Montreal Expos, and they moved from Jerry Park to Olympic Stadium, which you might remember as well.
Remember that vividly. I went to the last game in Olympic Stadium.
There you go. So, but when the team moved to Olympic Stadium, it was kind of like this is when the team officially became a big league team, and that was kind of the vibe where you move from a 20,000 seat stadium to a 50, 60, 70,000 seat stadium.
Yep.
Was that a similar vibe for you going from Lansdowne to what is now this arena, and just the step up towards being in a rink that is suitable for an NHL team?
Yeah, I think there was a huge sense of accomplishment and arrival when we got to this building back in 1996. Partly because again it was state of the art, and I'd say it was the best arena in the world at that time. But also it was a condition of our franchise. We had a conditional franchise until we actually got into a permanent building. The Civic Center at the time was always considered a temporary venue, and we had to make good on our commitment to build a new arena, and coming to the Palladium at the time was that commitment.
So what you're saying is, technically speaking, if there was a hiccup here, the league could have said, you know what, we're yanking your...
Yeah, they weren't going to let us play in the Civic Center permanently.
Yeah.
It was the same for San Jose. They started in the Cow Palace. It was the same in Tampa. They started in a baseball stadium.
Yeah. Yep.
They weren't going to allow those. We had the same experience in Phoenix. They were in a university arena, and they just couldn't maintain that. Yeah. And so we never got to the point where we were threatened or there was any issues. It was just it took us about a year longer than we thought it was going to take, but we did move 3.5 years after we opened at the Civic Center.
So you open up 3.5 years after the Civic Center, and you do it with a Bryan Adams concert.
Yes.
January the 15th, 1996. So Bryan had opened up GM, what was then GM Place in Vancouver, I think 6 months earlier.
Yep.
Like, was that the thing? Like, was that your target? Like, hey, this is the guy to christen the building? Or how did that come together?
Yeah, there was a real short list, and he was on it. And you wanted it to be Canadiana. You wanted somebody that was going to rock the place, and you wanted it to be a must see concert. So Bryan kind of fit checked all the boxes there. Was in partnership with the Live Nation. They changed their name a few times. It wasn't Live Nation back then, but we work closely. We're still working with Riley O'Connor from Live Nation, and we spent a lot of time with Riley about who are the potential artists that could open our building. And you get a pass on the building. It's kind of typically the promoter makes their share of money on every concert that's run here because they take all the risk. But when you open a new building, there generally is zero risk. So the promoter will give you that's your event. You keep the proceeds. You keep the promoter share, and that was a show that Riley thought we definitely would sell out, and it'll be iconic, and it's Canadian, and it was the right decision. I think you couldn't have given me another band. The Tragically Hip just weren't big enough yet. Yeah. When we booked, because we booked Bryan probably a year out, right? Yeah. So this would have been January of 1995. The Hip got big in late 95, early 96, and they were the first band to sell out 2 consecutive shows here in 96.
Yeah, I'd love to know who else was on. Do you remember who else was on the short list of potential? Like, were the Spice Girls a thing back then?
I don't know. No, really? I mean, you're really testing my memory now. I know there was a short list, and I know we were all pretty giddy with the thought of getting Bryan Adams. So I don't think it went too far off of that list. Yeah. So.
I think if we look, we have this board that you mentioned you had in your basement, but it's basically just a memory card for you, basically, of the building and the building opening. And behind that Bryan Adams ticket at the bottom, I think there's an all-star skating event that took place on the second day of the building opening on the 16th.
Yep.
I'm curious what that is. Like, is that just a skating event?
Like a Stars on Ice.
Stars on Ice.
It was Stars on Ice. Yeah, we mean it wasn't Stars on Ice, but it was just, look, there's an opportunity here to be part of the opening ceremonies for a Canadian building. We've got a hockey game. We got a concert. Why not have a skating show with all the great Canadian skaters? And that was worked into the schedule. So we opened with Bryan Adams on January 15th.
Yep.
The first hockey game wasn't until Saturday, the 17th, and on Friday the 16th we had an all-star ice show with a bunch of Canadian figure skaters and the building was full as well. So we had 3 consecutive sellouts to open those 3 nights, and it was great.
See, I would have loved if you said you tried to get Nancy Kerrigan and Tonya Harding. That would have been like 2 years after all that. Yeah, that would have been a pretty good.
Be a good movie.
Yeah, that would be. So yeah, we've got this thing here. Like, there's a time capsule, and look, we are.
So this was built by the architects, right? So the Rossetti Associates had all these photos back then. Hard photos were the thing, and so they put that together and gave it to me after we opened. So it was kind of a nice memento that I've kept.
And again, we are in the. Again, full transparency, we are in the process, I'll say, of trying to see if we can do this time capsule thing and dig it up. So I'm going to ask you the question.
Yeah.
What the heck is in this time capsule?
I don't know. Like all I know is from the photo. You can see me holding a jar of dirt. So when we did the groundbreaking here on the site, the Palladium, we had our own logo, and we did a bunch of jars of dirt as souvenirs for people with the Palladium logo on it. So I know for sure there's a jar of dirt in there. I know there's some newspapers from the Ottawa Citizen and the Ottawa Sun that will be in there. So January, whatever it is, 15th, 1996, or the 14th. Maybe we did it. I don't know if we closed it up the day of or we closed it up the day before.
Yeah.
But it was really close to the opening when we put everything in the time capsule. So it's 30 years, and I'm sure there'll be some really unique. At least I hope there is some really unique stuff in there. So.
I want there to be a Bruce Garriock article that we dig up out of there. Yeah,
there might be.
Yeah.
Do you remember, like, okay, we're putting this together, we're putting it in the ground. Like, what was that process like? Were you getting in there with your with the shovel?
No. We had it. It was in the middle of the lobby. The lobby was done and finished, and I know. And we had a cordoned off with some pipe and drape, and there was just a hole in the ground, and there was this big. It's fairly tall. I think it's 3 or 4 feet tall. It's a steel canister, a stainless steel canister. And we invited, a number of our staff to bring stuff up and put it into the time capsule. So I know I did. I know Randy. I know Bruce did for sure. I don't know who else put stuff in there. I hope they all kept it PG and family entertainment here, because we're going to be opening it.
Yeah.
Hopefully here in another couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So.
Well, maybe there is a Spice Girls CD in there.
Could be a Spice Girls CD. You never know.
The name Palladium.
Yeah.
It only lasted for how many months before it turned into the Corel Center?
Well, I mean, it lasted a couple of years, right? So we weren't open for a couple of years, but the lead up to it was Palladium. So it got a lot of use. But it was only on the building for about a month and a half.
Yeah.
And then, Corel came along and said, look, we'd love to have the naming rights. Can we talk to you about that? If you remember back in the day, Corel used to have an annual competition, Corel Draw, amongst all their artists, and they would host that here every year. It completely sold out, so it was a full building to host their annual Corel Draw awards ceremony. And we were dealing with obviously Mike Copeland and Pat Reed was their head of marketing at the time, and the building opened, and Pat, I think, was there at the opening night and said, we'd love to talk to you about naming rights. And I go, geez, we've been trying to get this done for 2 years.
Yeah.
I guess we just needed to get this thing open to kind of proof of concept. And then, then we got that agreement done. And I think in February or March, the Palladium name came down and the Corel name went up.
Was there any other names you contemplated other than Palladium that you can remember?
We did, Bruce was always big on names. He bring something to life. So he'd asked us to think about names for the arena for quite some time. And I remember seeing, I think it was in UK, they had a Palladium as a venue, the London Palladium. And I looked up Palladium, what it meant. It's a rare material. It's a gathering place. It kind of made sense as a good name, and proposed it. And we all liked it, and so that's kind of how it stuck. But we did go through. We went through a lot of different names to name the venue. If we were doing it again, would we have called it the Palladium? Probably not. We probably just would have called it the Ottawa Arena, and then waited for a proper naming rights to get done. But Bruce liked the idea of naming things and helping to bring them to life.
You mentioned Bruce naming things. Any lucrative things that he came up with that come off the top of your head from a naming perspective?
No, but I think when we opened the building, we had a lot of revenue streams that we didn't have at the Civic Center, and part and parcel again to just our company and Bruce, and just our focus on real estate, and making sure that the spaces are used at the highest and best use. So I think we got a lot of, you don't get everything perfect, but I think we got a lot of that stuff right, and we're able to to generate some much needed revenue streams for the hockey club.
Okay, as we wrap this up, I got to ask you, because I was doing some research here. I saw a story CBC did on the 20th anniversary of the building, and they had some stats about the number of popcorn that's been sold and the sodas that have been sold. And there was a number, I think it was just under 2 million slices of pizza.
I think I ate half of those myself.
That's my question. If you could guesstimate how many slices of pizza has Cyril Leeder eaten in 30 years at this building, what's your guess?
Oh my God. I'm a pizza fanatic, so I'll eat it all the time. So I'm guessing
are you saying
30 years, probably, 1,200 games plus playoffs. Let's say I probably 1,500 slices. I probably did probably more than one a game. So
crazy. Okay, and what are you? Pepperoni, cheese combo? What are?
I like the combo. Yeah, I'd eat the more stuff on it, the better.
And every game you're eating a piece of pizza.
If it's there, every game I have a slice.
Let's be honest here. Okay, you're the president and CEO. Well, you're often at these swanky dinners, and I see you having a nice meal. Even after that, you're having like a pizza?
Even after that, I'm having, if there's a
Really?
slice of pizza in the suite, I'm having a slice of pizza.
Do you time it up? Like, is it pregame or is it at first intermission? Like,
I usually try to get my eating in before anybody's watching. So you pregame if it's there, and otherwise take my chances. So
Okay.
Love it.
And final question for you. On the 30th anniversary, it's going to be a game against the Montreal Canadiens.
yes,
Okay.
exact same date,
Same date, same opponent.
Yep. Different result.
Yes, that was a 3-0 shutout.
Yes.
We
against-
didn't score our
against
first
the
game in the
Habs.
building. We
Yeah.
didn't score.
But I'm wondering, like, if you could go back to that original game,
Yeah.
would you have picked a different opponent, or did you handpick that it would be the Habs? Do you remember how that came together?
We had, I remember that conversation with Steve Hatzapetros, who's still at the league, does all the scheduling, and we didn't even get a chance to talk about it. Steve just said, "I'm assuming you want Montreal as your opening night opponent. We'll put you on Hockey Night in Canada on Saturday night, and you'll open on January 17th." And then we kind of had a debate about, well, we wouldn't want to have a hockey game as the first event, and then having talked to Riley at Live Nation and talked internally, we said, you know what? No, the first hockey game is going to be the first hockey game. Could be the third, fourth, fifth event. You're still going to get a first event with Brian Adams. So I think that was the right call. And no, we wouldn't have changed. I think, having started at the Civic Center with Montreal and how epic of a night that turned out to be, beating the Canadiens in that first game, I think we were kind of hoping to recreate the magic at the Palladium, but wasn't meant to be the second time around.
Yeah.
Maybe third time's a charm.
Well, that's what I'm
exactly.
thinking. Maybe third.
Yeah.
And by the way, Jackson sneakily got some arena info out of you in this podcast on the new building.
you got
That's
a little bit.
That's going to be the
there.
headline.
You snuck
A
that in.
little
You didn't
bit.
tell me we were going to do that.
No.
But that's all right.
No.
all right, we've got to prep you a little. We got to
Yeah.
keep you on your toes a little bit, right? No
Well,
matter what.
Yeah. Well, listen, Si, thanks for popping by the podcast studio here and going down memory lane, because I think this is really fun. It's a big moment for the franchise here, coming up to 30 years.
It is. We never really got a chance to do the 25th anniversary because of COVID. It's just, again, been a lot of great memories in this building: hockey, concerts, family events, big opportunities, all-star games, World Juniors. So it's worth reminiscing and taking one weekend out of the year to say, put a little focus on and say it's been a great 30 years here.
Okay, actually, I lied. You're never supposed to say last question, but I do have a last
All
question. And this is something that we've asked every guest that's come on here: player, coach,
Okay.
alumni. And I'm trying to think now. What you live in Canada, right? Like,
Yeah, I live in Canada.
So this might be
A little bit
not the
different.
best
Yeah.
question for you, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
All right.
Let's say Cyril Leeder is coming back from downtown. It's 4 o'clock, 5. It doesn't matter the time of the day. Is he exiting to come to work on Terry Fox or Palladium?
Okay, I can tell you, I've probably made that exit 500 or 600 times, and I've never taken Terry Fox.
Wow.
And
This
I
is
take Palladium north. So
Yeah.
I do the north
And
loop.
you loop around
I don't come south.
Yes.
I go around Tanger, even before Tanger was there. When you used to do it, when you got to Huntmar, it was dirt road back in the day. So
Yeah.
Huntmar was a dirt road once you got off the bridge. It was a dirt road right out to basically out to Carp. I've always taken the same route. Now, occasionally there's traffic, whatever, going into Tanger, or there's a construction. But if it's no construction, it's get off at Palladium and
Wow.
go north.
See?
Add one to Palladium. There you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's where the smart people get off. We
Guess
get off
so.
at Palladium.
The locals
like
get
that's
off
the
there,
case.
that's for sure. Call me a local.
Yeah,
Townie. I'm a Townie getting off
There
out
we
there.
go. Love it. Si, thanks for popping by.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Do you like free desserts? I know I do, and as proud supporters of the Ottawa Senators, CIBC is excited to celebrate its clients by offering exclusive rewards and experiences for being part of the CIBC family. Along with a free dessert from Club CIBC, when you pay with your CIBC card, you can get 10% off of the Sens store and at concessions. Enjoy more value, excitement, and reasons to cheer on the Sens this season with CIBC Rewards.
All right, that was a lot of fun with Cyril Leeder. Again, two of us probably not dressed
up to par.
Up to par.
Yeah.
With him, but that was great. I would love to know. I wanted to push him a little bit, but these are things from 30 years ago.
For sure.
I'd love to get some of the names of the cutting room floor for. Let's start with the arena.
Yep.
Because he said Palladium, but we had some other. Like, what were the other?
What were the other ideas? Yeah, I tried to with the Bruce Firestone question. What were some other ideas that he came up with? But not too much. But
okay, and cutting room floor. He says, we had a handful of artists we reached out to.
Yep.
And I'm wondering who else he did. So what I did, Jackson, is I've looked up what were the top songs, Billboard Music Charts, January 16th, 1996.
Okay.
So the week it opens.
Yep.
Okay. Top song that week. You think they could have pulled Mariah Carey in here? Mariah Carey
I don't know,
and
probably.
Boyz II Men, One Sweet Day was the #1 song on the planet.
Wow.
In January of 1996.
Crazy. We just finished Mariah Carey's season, and now you're bringing her back up after Christmas comes to an end.
Yeah, she's really morphed into a Christmas theme.
She really has.
Like Bublé, who's ironically coming here.
Yep.
Bublé, Mariah Carey, and Trans-Siberian Orchestra. It's like, that's it. That you
Those
are
the three.
Christmas artist. Doesn't matter what else you do.
Exactly. That's what you're known for.
Yeah.
It's crazy. After Halloween ends, it's Mariah Carey season. But yeah, that would have been an interesting one. Was she, I mean, it's before my time, obviously. Was she as big back then?
Oh, mass in the 90s?
Was that her?
Huge.
That's her peak, right?
Huge.
Was mid-90s.
Like, like my high school era was Mariah Carey.
For sure.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Dream Lover.
Any other songs you wrote or just that one?
The top songs from there. Maybe Thomas Chabot would have liked this. Whitney Houston. Exhale from Whitney Houston was #2 on the list. And #3, I wonder if we could have had Coolio come in. Gangster's Paradise. We are having Weird Al this summer, and he did Amish Paradise.
He did. That's
pretty
true.
good riff on
that's
on
fantastic.
Gangster's Paradise. But those were the top songs. So I guess Bryan Adams
with the bill.
He was opening arenas. Like, that was the thing.
Yeah,
like,
that was
we
he
gotta have him
opened
open
GM Place, like you said, in Vancouver. It's interesting. I guess he mentioned the Canadiana side of it all and wanting to have him back, and then he was back here. It's a cool little thing.
It's interesting when Cyril says the Tragically Hip got big late in 1995 and into early 96. I guess there's no way. Like, once you book Bryan, like, did they say to Bryan Adams, you're the first? Like, what if they went and said, you know what, let's book the Hip for January 14th?
And tell Bryan Adams.
No, don't tell Bryan Adams anything. Just say, you know what, we've just added one more show, and it's Tragically Hip.
Do you think he wouldn't have been very well receptive to that, though, Bryan Adams? He wanted to be the first show. It's his thing.
Yeah, that was his
thing. And the Tragically Hip swoop in.
Yeah.
I don't know. Either way, it's a pretty good show, right? Like, you can't complain either way if you're getting the Tragically Hip with Bryan Adams, right?
No, but that's the backstory there on
Interesting.
on Bryan Adams,
Yeah.
and interesting when he says I would have almost inverted the arena and had more seats
in the lower
bowl and fewer seats in the upper bowl. Although I don't know how that, like, visually, what would that look like?
More seats in the lower bowl?
Yeah.
Well,
like, would it look awkward? I don't know.
I don't think it would look awkward. I think there are buildings around the league that have bigger lower bowls and smaller upper bowls. I think, like, what makes this building unique is how steep it is. Like, you're sitting in the 300s.
Yeah.
The sight lines are
you're
fantastic.
Looking right down.
It's some of the best in the league in my mind. Like, you go around to other buildings and it's more, I guess, lower. I don't know. You feel like you're on top of the ice here in many, many different areas of the rink, and it's a unique perspective. But I don't know what it would have been like if it was a bigger lower bowl. It's interesting.
Also, should we have figured out how many? I mean, he guesstimated he had 1,500 slices of pizza. Is that what he said?
Yep, 1,500 over the years, which, I don't know, is that low? 1,500?
1,500 pieces.
How many games? How many games do you think there have been?
Well, he
in this
30 years
building's history.
If there's 40 games a year at home, so there's 1,200 games, plus playoffs, plus whatever.
Yep.
So maybe
a
there's
little bit
been
more.
like 1,350 games in this building or something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
And he
says
says
a game.
The odd time
He takes a second slice.
1,500. We should have commemorated it. Like, congratulate, like, put it up on the Jumbotron. Congratulations, Cyril Leeder, on your 1,500th slice of pizza. Have him awkwardly
you
pose
know what?
there.
We could still do that, probably.
Yeah, we probably could.
You could just still do that. Put it up. People would be like, "What's going on?"
If you could
slices.
eat one concession item from this arena
Yeah.
every day, every game day, what do you eat?
It's a good question. I have to think about it for a second. You? I'll throw it back
Oh,
to you.
what a
quickly.
deflection. What a deflection. I think I'm going Golden Palace egg rolls.
Oh, that's my answer. 100%.
No, that was my answer.
Okay, I know, but
you can't steal my answer.
I know,
Like,
but I genuinely, I've sat one time I sat in Club Bell. I ate probably 10 Golden Palace egg rolls.
what were the circumstances that led you to sit in Club Bell?
It was before I started here. I had a friend who has family was season tickets or half season tickets in Club Bell, and said, "You want to come to the game?" I said, "Sure." Didn't know they were in Club Bell. They're the Golden Palace egg rolls in front
and
of me.
who was Ottawa's opponent that night?
The Montreal Canadiens.
Okay, and who did you cheer for that evening?
We don't need to mention that.
Okay, so interesting.
But the
that
Sens won.
You
The Sens
came
won.
in as a visitor, as a guest, and you cheered for. Oh, the Senators won the game.
The Sens won. Yeah.
How old were you?
I don't even remember. It was a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago.
So like
Probably
19?
Probably 19. Yeah. No, 18, 19. Yeah, around then.
Teenage Jackson
Teenage Jackson.
comes in here.
Freshly shaven, no scruff, no beard.
No,
A different life, different past life, you
Yeah.
could say.
a hard knock.
But I still kept my passion for Golden Palace
Yeah.
egg rolls through it all.
So that's your pick.
It could be
One
that or
concession
that or
item.
poutine. Probably, I like poutine.
Well, we would like to ask this question to the viewers.
Yep.
If you
Good call.
came here every game and you could only eat one item, but that's it. Every game you're only eating one item. What are you taking?
It's a tough question.
Hit us
Honestly.
up at communications@ottawasenators.com. We love to read your feedback on this. I'm curious. Yeah, I don't know what people would go with. Cotton candy?
I don't know if you go cotton candy because think about it. If you're framing the question as you come back for every
Game. You have no
to
choice.
have the same thing.
41 games, you're eating it every single time.
Can you choose not to eat it that game,
Nope.
or like you
You have
have
no
to?
choice.
So if you have 3 hot
Cram
dogs,
that cotton candy down
yeah,
your...
exactly.
your,
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Tough question. I still am going with the Golden Palace egg rolls.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's
that's
my
the way to
option.
go.
Yep.
Okay.
For sure.
Well, hit us up with any thoughts on that, the conversation we had with Cyril Leeder, the fact that he takes the Palladium exit like most intelligent people do.
Oh boy.
Have you really swayed your mind
Honestly,
here?
I'm just catching strays.
But
hey,
have
today?
we changed you? Because you drive into work from downtown.
I know, but I always just take Terry Fox. It's again, I'll say it again. Once you catch that left, I feel like it's pretty. At the times that we're coming to the rink, it's pretty straightforward to just get there. And I don't love going through the roundabouts and all that. It's leave it. Let you Palladium people do your own thing. I'll take my Terry Fox left turn and then right, and then right at the rink. Yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully by the end of the season, can
You're
you just
gonna
one
sway
game
me.
do it? Just do it for one game. Change it up.
Maybe you're requesting that I do it.
Yeah.
I guess
I'm
so.
gonna put it in your mid-season evaluation.
Take
When
Palladium.
we do these HR things.
Yep.
And there's feedback and like actionable items.
Yep.
One of the actionable items for you is we would
Palladium.
we would strongly encourage Jackson to take Palladium Drive.
So you're not forcing me. You're strongly encouraging.
Strongly
me.
encouraging.
Okay.
him. Yeah.
Okay.
And then 3 months from now we'll have a meeting about it to see how you're progressing towards that goal. And in 6 months we can look back and
Okay.
Yeah.
Noted.
it's an
Noted.
achievable goal for you.
I think so. So. We'll see what the result of the game is that night too.
Yeah.
If we come in and it's a 7-0 win, I think I gotta keep taking Palladium, but we'll see.
All right. Okay. We'll leave it there. Again,
Yeah.
communications@ottawasenators.com. Hit us up. We're looking forward to a lot of fun episodes here in 2026, and we'll catch you next time.